Here's a quick rundown of my list. It's obviously a Kane list. I'm running a Dreadlord on a Black Dragon. Built pretty standard. I do have the Trickster Shard on him. Spellweaver with level 4 life. Death Hag on a Cauldron. A couple of units of Glade Guard, some Silver Helms, some Wad Riders. The Cauldron's going to go in some Sword Masters because I think that's fun. A Sky Cutter, a War Hydra, and a Great Eagle. Here's my opponent's list. It's obviously an Undead Legions. Similar to me, he actually has a Dragon Lord, but this is a Blender Lord on top of a Zombie Dragon, so this thing is really just beast mode. He's also got a Baby Vamp on a Coven Throne, which is actually no joke either. That thing's pretty tough. A couple of Crypt Ghouls and some Zombies, and in core, he's got some Dire Wolves and some Skeletal Archers too. Rounding out his special, as you can see, he's heavy on character, so his special is pretty light. He's got some Vargeist, some Hexwraith, a Terrorgeist, and a Casket of Souls. And that's all I remember off the top of my head. But we'll see what else he has as we start playing. Here's the left flank of my deployment. This is Dawn Attack, so remember everything's going to be kind of scattered weirdly. On the far left, I have some Hagbane Glade Guard, my Wild Riders, the War Hydra, some more Glade Guard with Hagbane, and my Spellweavers in there. I have a unit of Silver Helms there. I'm going 3 wide to try to minimize my frontage because everybody has Martial Prowess now, so they can attack in 3 ranks. So I'm going to just try this out, see what happens. There's my Dreadlord on just pretend that's a Black Dragon. Here's the right flank of my deployment. There's the Great Eagle, the Silver Helms with the Cauldron, and the Sky Cutter on the far right. It was the only thing that scored that flank. Here's my opponent's deployment. Starting from the right, he's got some Dire Wolves. He's got a Terrorgeist. The big Terrorgeist is the Blender Lord on the Zombie Dragon. Behind that, some Dire Wolves. Next to that is his Coven Throne. He's got some Hexwraiths. Behind there, I believe, are the Archers, and behind the Coven Throne are the Vargeists. Also, I'd like to mention, right between his Coven Throne and his Blender Lord is I think it's like Arcane Ruins or something. It's something that lets each wizard channel on 4 dice. So first thing he does is he plants both his wizards there and just starts channeling 8 dice every turn. So that's just great, and he just hangs out there. So he is generating a ton of dice every turn. Anyway, moving on. In the river, he's got some zombies, and next to there, he's got some Crypt Ghouls. Unfortunately for him, he actually ended up getting his Casket of Souls randomly deployed on his right flank with only a unit of zombies to protect it. So I'm pretty excited about that. I got first turn, and this is me moving up. I moved the Vanguard, the Wide Riders up pretty far, trying to threaten that casket. Well, I want to get that off the board as soon as possible. Everybody else kind of sweeps forward. I know I have that flank pretty strongly. As you can see, that little blue token is that little blue dwarf in the middle of the field is one of the tokens I'm trying to collect. Here's my right flank. I just moved the Eagle up and put a Shield of Thorns on him, hoping to bait a charge in from the Hexwraiths, and the Shield of Thorns will take out the Hexwraiths in his magic phase. So that's just kind of a little trick I'm trying to bait him into. I don't think he ends up falling for it. I do knock off some Hexwraiths with some shooting. The Sky Cutter takes out some dogs, takes a wounds for its trouble somehow or another. I'm not really sure how it takes a wound, but otherwise everything else looks pretty standard. This is his turn. Nothing much happens. He moved some stuff up. I think he moved the Crypt Ghouls up out of the river a little bit, or the zombies. I kind of took this picture to show that he did a light of, I forget what the spell's called, from Casket of Souls, and it ends up arcing down my lines, pretty much hits almost nearly my entire army and does no wounds. So, yay. I'm excited about that. Leadership 10 is worth something. Over here on the right side, you can see his Terrorgeist kind of takes the bait and goes ahead and screams off my Sky Cutter. I'm actually okay with that because there's way higher priority targets that I'm worried about him screaming, so at least he's out of the way for right now. The Hexwraiths come over and begin threatening my dragon even more, so that's great. I think they even may do a wound to those Sword Masters. The Vargeists move up and kind of screen everybody else, and he's just kind of camping out at the Arcane Ruins, just enjoying those channels and casting some spells. So yeah, I did not see that coming. Here's a better shot of his side of the field. As you can see, the Crypt Ghouls hopped into that building, and I think the zombies were the ones that ended up moving out of the river. Uh, and that's pretty much it. Both of the tokens are still on the board. Alright, this is my end of my turn, and one of the few mistakes my opponent makes during this game. He kind of moves the zombies up to defend his Casket of Souls, but he really doesn't like redirect them or change their angle or anything, so I just have a perfect overrun path. Maybe he thought that the zombies could hold up to the Wild Riders. I'm not really sure what he was thinking. I think maybe he just forgot. But the Wild Riders charge in, murder the zombies horribly, overrun into the Casket of Souls, and so that's perfect. I'm glad to have that thing engaged. I won't be able to kill it until next turn, but at least I have it engaged. I kind of move my guys around a little bit. The dragon hops out from behind that fence. I'm trying to get a good angle. Both of us have so many flyers and fast units that we kind of are all hesitant to enter the no man's land because we know we're just going to get everyone knows they're going to get multi-charge, so we're just kind of having this little Mexican standoff. I'm really nervous about those hex rays. I wasn't able to shoot them off. My silver helms gave them hard cover, and I couldn't get. I think I had Awakening of the Wood. I don't think I was either in range or I just didn't get the spell off. So I just had no way of taking them off. So I'm in a bit of trouble here. All right, so he goes ahead and charges those silver helms with his hex race. I take a bit of a risk and flee with the silver helms. If he flanked those silver helms, there's just nothing I could do unless I could just hope to hold out and get a shield of thorns off on them. They were just gonna die because of that 3x3x3 formation I take. They wouldn't going to be steadfast versus the hex wraith. So I fled, took a couple of dangerous terrain casualties from that forest, which is kind of ironic. Luckily, he's on leadership 5, so he's unable to redirect into my Glade Guard Wizard bunker. So I accept. That could be way worse from on like turn 2. Crypt Ghouls hop out of the building, and the zombies move up to chaff up some stuff, and the archers are just going to town. Luckily for me, his skeleton archers are deciding to shoot at kind of weird things like the Hydra, and he's not shooting at my toughness 3 archers with no armor. So I'm that kind of a mistake on his half, but I think he's really scared of that Hydra, which is funny. Here's more of him just kind of camping by that arcane ruins. He moves the Vargeist out for a better position. Terrorgeist comes around the corner and starts screaming into my flank, and this is exactly what I don't want to happen with the Terrorgeist. I have nothing on that side of the table to threaten it. I have no shots, no magic. I just have to take the screams from the Terrorgeist because there's no reason to reform and face it because he would just fly over me and scream in my back. So here I'm just going to have to take these hits. I take a couple of wounds, and I'm just going to have to declare charge on those Vargeist and try to get the heck out of dodge. Alright, back to my turn. Silver Helms rally, yay. Wild Riders were just able to see those zombies, the flank of the zombies after they're overrun into the river from the casket. The casket doesn't blow up. The casket blows up, but it doesn't do any damage, so that's great because that could have really hurt those guys. But then their overrun and their charge ended up giving 2 wounds from that daggum river from dangerous terrain. The Hydra moves up and just flame breaths the crap out of those Crypt Ghouls and just cuts them in half. So that's great, way more manageable now. I think I said the Silver Helms rally and those Glade Guard try to line up some shots on those Hex Wraiths. On the right side, I fail the dang charge into the Vargeists. I just and something that had plagued me this entire weekend is just I just could not make charges. You know, I think it was a pretty long one, but this one really hurts because now the Terrorgeist is just going to get another free scream on me. My dragon, in a questionable decision, it goes ahead and charges those archers. I don't know why. I guess it was just were so tempting because it was just stupid. Cause now I'm about to get countercharged by both of his characters. I don't know what else. I thought maybe I was thinking I was going to overrun into that Coven Throne, but I wasn't even close. But at least I killed the archers. Yay! Here's just an overall shot of the battlefield after that turn. As you can see, I did get those Hex Wraiths shot off finally. After they had caused enough trouble. Alright, here's the big cluster. He makes he throws the Coven Throne and the General into the Dreadlord. Uh, the impact hits really hurt, but fortunately for me, I'm able to. He doesn't issue a challenge with either of them, so the way I understand it is I can issue a challenge to either one of them because they're two separate units. Um, and so I chose to challenge the Coven Throne as it was a much more manageable. It was still a tough character, but it was much more manageable, way more manageable than a Blender Lord on a Zombie Dragon. However, the Zombie Dragons does basically have the mark of Nurgle. It's like a -1 to hit, so that did hurt me. After it was all said and done, I think I put a couple of wounds on the Coven Throne and the Baby Vamp BSB. Took 2 wounds on the Dreadlord and a wound or 2 on the Dragon. I need like a 4 or 5 to stick, and I nail it. So I'm super excited about that. Furthermore, for some reason, he puts his Vargeists. I think he's trying to screen some charges from coming in to help the Dragon. And I guess he does do that because he does. The Wide Riders can't get into the Zombie Dragon now, but he's just going to throw away those Vargeists. So not really sure about that, but at least I think he's just trying to buy himself some time. He's really scared of Wild Riders, which I guess he should be. And here's just a bad photo of kind of what's going on the field. He goes ahead and charges the Hydra with his Crypt Ghouls, and that's not going to end well for him. And that's pretty much it. All right, and back to my turn. As you can see, the Wild Riders go ahead and make short work of the Vargeists. I do think he does get some wounds through, though, and manages to kill a handful of them. I think the River kills another one. So at this point, I'm not even sure if he's done any wounds. I think that daggum River just keeps killing him. But it's pretty obvious here. The Dreadlord's killed off the top of the Black Dragon, and I do break. And in a probably a mistake on his half, he decides to only pursue with the Coven Throne, because I guess the Zombie Dragon is kind of really neat. I understand his logic here. The Zombie Dragon was needed to deal with the incoming Cauldron of Blood Swordmasters, which are really good. But he fails to catch the Black Dragon, and it's always bad to fail to catch a monster like that, because you never know what it can come around and do later. So we'll see what happens. But either way, this is a small victory for him right now. Okay, I actually think I forgot to take a picture here. Or 2, but basically he combo charges the Swordmasters with the Blender Lord and a Terrorgeist and screams into them. So I'm looking to have a bad time here, but things don't go his way because I have a champion to challenge out his Blender Lord on Zombie Dragon. So I'm just able to shut down any of his incoming wounds there. He does get some pretty good combat res, but it's fine. The Swordmasters in the back, along with the Cauldron, are able to just wipe out that Terrorgeist before he even gets to attack. So that's really good for me. He wins combat, but I'm okay with this because I think I can grind him down here. However, on the left side, he charges my Forest Dragon, who flees, of course, and later rallies, because I believe I missed a turn here. But he does kill the Wild Riders, who were weakened, and then overruns into my solo Spellweaver. This is really bad. I had jumped the Spellweaver out for some reason. I think I forget why, but this is really bad because for obvious reasons. But it's good because this combat doesn't have to happen right now because he just overran into him. So I at least have a turn to try to respond before all of those impact hits come into her. So I am able to countercharge with my Silver Helms. And I get a magic phase. I get Throne of Vines and Stone off on the Spellweaver. So she is 7 now, and she just takes those impact hits like a boss. I challenge out his BSB with the champion in the Silver Helms, and both the Spellweavers and the Silver Helms stick on like a 5 or a 6 rerollable. So I'm just super happy with these. This is the second or third time this game where a champion in a unit just saves my bacon. So let's see how the Spellweaver and these like 3 Silver Helms can hold up. It turns out they hold up pretty well. So he just keeps he butchers the Silver Helm, but not before I'm able to get a wound on his BSB with that champion. So he then starts designating all of his attacks to the Spellweaver in a challenge again, by the way, and he is just unable to get by the toughness 7. Um, and I think the Spellweaver even manages to whack a wound through with his staff. So at this point I think I lose combat, but I'm on a high enough leadership to stick around. So it's pretty hilarious watching this little Spellweaver just hold off this Coven Throne nearly single-handedly. All right, back to his turn. He starts getting a little bit clever here. The combat with the Cauldron does not go his way. I challenge out his Blender Lord with the Cauldron. Of course, he kills the BSB off the top, but I think at this point I'm able to just go ahead and between the Witch Elves and the Death Hag, I'm able to kill the dragon out from underneath him. It doesn't have hardly any saves. If I don't, and then I think he pops through combat res because at this point I have like 3 ranks and 2 banners. So pops the dragon, and then, but on his turn he actually reforms he kills off the Silver Helms and reforms his Coven Throne to give his front to the Cauldron of Blood, and he actually gets about another inch or 2 of charge distance, and I charge in and I fail my charge. So this is really big because I really needed to save that Spellweaver. However, my dragon without the rider does manage to get into the flank of the Coven Throne. Though Hydra fails his charge, though, but he does pick up a token in the process, which that's good. But this just comes back to his mistake earlier, which he didn't pursue the dragon and knock it off completely. Now it's coming back, and we're playing where you don't get the points for the character in the dragon unless you kill the whole model. So right now that's still like a 520 point model that he hasn't gotten any points out of yet, and it came back in just to save the day. So this was huge, and this is really whenever the game starts swinging towards the end. Alright, he is able to finally kill the unkillable Spellweaver by just, I think it's the Spirit Swarm that just has so many attacks that I think it scores some 6s on the toughness 7 and gets through. But the dragon does knock the BSB off the top. I don't think I kill the Coven Throne though, so he does keep points for that. So and that's the last picture of the game. I can't remember the exact score, but it was approximately 25-50 to 18-30. Elves win. Final thoughts. Big turning points here is don't let big points escape if you can help it. I mean, it's one thing if your opponent flees with 2 6s, but if you have 2 units and it's a big, threatening, expensive unit that breaks, I almost always send all of the units to try to catch it. You just never know. I mean, it's one thing for it to get away, but it's another thing for it to get away, rally, and then come back in to ruin your day later. So it's always best to tidy up when possible. Second of all, always take champions and combat units if you're able to. They just really saved me here. And in a meta where everyone's taking a lot of powerful characters, with the new end times rules, characters are everywhere, and a champion can just really isolate a really, really heavy character, and a lot of times you can just res them out. Absorb a couple of wounds with the champion. You still get all of your combat res, and heck, you might even break them that way. You don't without even having to fight them. I was pretty much unimpressed with Lore of Life. Yeah, Throne of Vines saved me from some miscasts, but without a big block of people to Dwellers, the only thing that was worth casting was Flesh to Stone, and he just always made sure to counter that. So. And finally, Spellweavers are evidently just boss in combat, so be afraid of them because they're just awesome. But anyway, guys, thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time.